guys, it's Melissa. Happy Monday. Is everybody getting back to a little semblance of normalcy? I had my kids go back to school today, and we're getting, back into the routine of the regular work week, if you will. So happy 2021, all of you. Today we are going to do a one of those projects that I get asked about all the time. You would think that these trends would kind of come and go. This is one of those that has stuck around forever. So they are faux leather earrings, and it's just in time because this earring here, this design, is one of the like 250 that are in the earring SVG bundle, which expires tonight. So I'm going to show you how to do this, and then you can decide if you are going to jump on that earring bandwagon. If you're not already on there, now's a good opportunity and get all these designs. They're like, it's $10, $9.99 for all of them. Okay, so I am actually going to use the biggest issue that comes up with making earrings is the materials, right? So I use faux leather, and I have a lot of it. And I like the Cricut brand, okay? So one thing about the Cricut brand is it's thin. It's actually meant for cutting with a cutting machine, and I have found the perfect cut settings, and I'm not going to say that I always get a perfect cut because, of course, as soon as I run this through, I won't. But here is what we are going to make. I made one. This is actually a combination of faux leather and glitter textured cardstock. This cardstock is actually not very textured, but we are going to do that. So I have, this design here is from Chameleon Cuttables. I don't know if you can see it right there in Silhouette Studio. So, however, what I also have is a very small piece of faux leather that I'm going to try to hit on here. Now, if this doesn't work because I didn't line this up correctly, we will just use the turquoise color because I know I have a big enough piece of that. But I'm really hoping that I can use black because I think the black and gold will look really cool. So I have it all set up in Silhouette Studio. First piece that we're going to cut is this piece right here. You can see it's transparent. And then what we do is we are going to cut, this design is set up beautifully. You literally, I didn't even resize it. You bring it in, you cut, you know exactly which pieces to cut on which material. So this has a backing that goes right with it, and then it has the inner piece too, and it's perfect. The only thing that I changed is I do not like to cut the hole for the earring with my Silhouette machine. Okay, it's so small that I think that actually causes, I don't cut that, you see that right there, I don't cut that with my machine. I actually use a punch, and so I'll show you how to do that afterwards. But what you can do if your design has that hole in there already, release compound path and just delete the little circle at the top, okay? All right, so that's all we're gonna do. I'm gonna bring you closer so you can see what I'm doing here. So I'm using my piece of faux leather that I have all of the information from start to finish, and the products and everything are in the other links that I sent up there because we've done a lot on tutorials on how to make faux leather and the materials and everything like that. So I do have my piece on here. To make sure that it doesn't move, I'm actually going to just put tape on all four sides as well. This is just painter's tape, and this will just help it stay in place while it's cutting. Now, again, I have this piece that's cut out. I'm really hoping, I should have just used Pick Scan. It would have made it a lot easier to make sure that I get it in the right spot and it doesn't hit this cutout. But we're going to hope that we have some good 2021 luck. Okay. All right. So it's all taped down. You don't have to do that, but for these thicker materials, I like to do that so that I just give a little extra insurance that it's going to cut. Now, one thing that you'll notice is I'm just using an auto blade. You can use a ratchet blade. I would highly suggest that you not use a craft blade. Okay. I would suggest, and there's absolutely no reason not to use an auto or a ratchet blade. Okay. All right. So we'll load this in. Okay, and I'm just going to send this to cut. Now, while this is cutting, I will tell you what my cut settings are, although they are in the 2 blog posts that I posted for you already. All right, and I'm going to stand here and just make sure that nothing goes astray. And, oops, sorry. Of course, it probably will because I have this very small piece. Again, if that doesn't work, we'll just throw this on there. It's a little bit bigger. So the cut settings that I'm using for this faux leather, and the leather itself, again, this is faux. Look how thin this is, okay? This is why I'm gonna put two layers of this. I'm using a blade of 10, force 22, and 2 passes. And the speed, you can see the speed is really, really slow. And the speed is on a 1. So blade depth of 10, force 22, and speed of 10. You can, here's an old sheet that I did. You can see it cuts really nicely, even like on details and stuff like that. So as long as it hits on there, and I have a bunch of other pieces in my trash, but I mean, this is the faux leather that I use all the time. So you'll be able to see. I've used it for various things. This was a bow that I made. Okay, so you can get that on Amazon, and I linked to it in one of the tutorials. All right. Okay, so the other thing that we're going to do, once we cut these 2 pieces, then I'm going to cut. This is it's called Shimmer Cardstock. It's from oh my gosh, Best Creation. This is like, I love this cardstock because it's glittery, but it's super thin, and it has like a real waxy type feeling, and so it cuts really easily. That is the piece that I'm going to use to go in between. Like, you see how it's almost like a stained glass, like you can see through there. Okay. All right. So we're going to do that next. All right. And I have to change the cut settings for that, but that will be, and I don't know if you can see off to the side here, this is the piece that's going to go in between. And again, this design is part of the big earring SVG design bundle that is ending today. So if you're interested, grab it. It's 248 designs, and I think there's 248 earring designs and about, I don't know how many, but it has the earring cards too. So we'll see if this works. It looks like the placement at least is good. So as long as it doesn't, let's see, you can see. I don't want to move the machine, but you can see what we're doing. Can you? Right there. Yeah. Okay. Someone was asking why not use the craft lead. So the craft lead is a big. Let's try and find it so I can show you the difference. So this is the craft blade, and I don't know if you should be able to see that, but see how big and broad that blade is? That blade ends up on intricate designs like this. The blade is just too harsh. You need something. This is an old, if you guys aren't familiar, this is an old fabric blade. It's literally the same as the ratchet blade and the auto blade. It's just in a different color casing, and you have to manually do it. But see, this blade is much, much smaller, and I'll pump it up to a 10 so you can try to see. But look at that. So you have these 2 blades, both cutting blades, but one, it's very difficult to see, I know. One is big and broad, the other is much smaller and will allow you to get a lot more intricate designs. Okay, so did this cut through? Yes, it did. All right, so what we're gonna do, I'm gonna take this out, and I'm going to gently, hopefully you can see what I'm doing here, gently pull this away. Okay, pop these out. It's like a fabric backing, or like a felt type backing. So if you end up with just little pieces, just, grab those. Okay, now one thing, if you are just joining, you'll notice that what I did not cut the hole in the earring, and that's because once I finish assembling these, I like to punch the hole myself with an earring with like a very small hole punch. I'll show you that in a second. Okay, so that's that, and then I'm just going to repeat that on all of these. So this is the back of it, and then we have to get the gold piece that's going to go in the middle. Now, you could cut another piece of faux leather if you want. I'm going to use a Shimmer Cardstock, and then we will sandwich these all together, okay? Now, if you're wondering, how did I line up, look how small this is. How did I line up these designs to fit exactly? I'm using the grid lines on Silhouette Studio and the grid lines in here to ensure that it cuts so precisely. So let's place these to the side for right now. And I'm gonna just clean off my mat real quick. Aren't I? I don't know where my thing went. Well, I'm just gonna move these off to the side here. Okay, and then I'm gonna replace my cutting mat, replace my cutting mat. I'm gonna place down a piece of this gold card, Shimmer Cardstock. Okay, so just gonna place that up here. Now, one thing that I've started doing all the time is using a brayer. This just gets a really good stick, even when your mat is not totally, overly sticky. And I actually prefer to use a mat that's not super sticky, because that way, when you're peeling the material up, especially paper or delicate materials, it doesn't rip your material, okay? All right, so now what I need to do is in Silhouette Studio, hopefully you can see what I'm doing here. In Silhouette Studio, I'm going to, I have this in 2 different work areas. And so this is the part that's going to go in the center. And I'm going to send this. Now this I have on textured cardstock. That's the setting that I'm using for that. Okay. Again, I'm still using the auto blade. Just going to make sure that nothing is in there. Just if something is in my blade, it will cause it not to adjust correctly. Okay, so we want to watch. There's a red line on your blade that when it's tapping is moving to the left on a Cameo 4. On a Cameo 3, it's moving the opposite direction, but it's still moving, okay? All right, so I've got all my pieces. Once these are finished cutting, then what I'm going to do is I'm going to use my Xyron. I need to move some things out of the way to be able to fit my Xyron on this my table here, but the Xyron is going to put an adhesive backing on the cardstock. Now, before I move this out, I'd like to see if this cut through. And right now, it doesn't seem like it fully cut through. So because I tested it while it's still on here, I can click send again, and it's going to cut again. So you may want to increase the passes to a 3, and hopefully that'll cut through if you're using this material. But if you take this whole thing out, you're never going to be able to line it up exactly, and the cut line will not be in the same place. This looks like it cut through. Okay, so now move some things out of the way here. And my earrings. Okay. Yeah. So can you see that cut through there? Okay. All right. So now let me get my Xyron down. This machine, I'll show you how this works here in a minute, okay? I know you guys are I'm trying to get it so you can see this stuff is so small that it can be difficult. Okay, all right, so we've got our earring middle part. So there's 3 pieces, whoops, to our earring. Ooh, could have probably used an additional pass. Okay, so that's that. All right, now we have all our pieces here, okay? And how this goes together is this is the front, this is the middle, and then you have a backing. And Sabine, who is the designer on this, she made these so nicely that you literally don't have to worry about mirroring anything. She did everything for you. So that's how it's going to go through. All right, so we have 2 of these like this. Now, the 2 pieces that I'm going to put through the Xyron, I'm going to put this one through. I got to think about this, how I'm going to do this. So what we need to do is we want to put these 2 front pieces back. Don't anybody yell at me. I usually would use my smaller Xyron for this, except that today when I went to do this, to test this out, I realized that it was out of, I need to replace the cartridge. Okay, so what this does is it puts an adhesive backing. Why isn't it going through? I'm sorry. Okay. Where's my other one? Oh, it didn't get caught. Okay. Okay, so it puts an adhesive backing. I know I wasted a little bit there. And then it's going to allow me, you peel this up, okay? It does not put adhesive in the areas that, well, it's not supposed to, that are cut out, okay? So now what I'm gonna do is I'm going to place my gold piece right on there. And the way this is designed is you don't have to really worry about like, so now from the front, it looks like this, okay? So now what I'm gonna do, let me get the other one. All right, and we'll do the same thing. And then we just need to put, so now we've got these, okay? And actually there might be enough stick on there that we can get, because the edge of that largest piece is still sticky. So I think actually, yeah, okay. So the edge here, this edge is still sticky. So if you want to use that, you can, the black, or I'll just run this whole thing right through again, which is I think what I'm gonna do for this. All right, and then we'll place that on there. And the reason that you want the backing is so that if the earring is in your ear and it flips around, you know, like while it's dangling, that you're not, are you guys able to see what I'm doing? You're not seeing the back. Whoops, I need to fix this a little bit. Okay, so the last part, so now we have our earrings here. The last thing that I need to do is put what are these called? These earring hooks in, okay? So these that I'm using have a little ball on the end to keep it in there, so you don't even need to use the jump ring, okay? So what I do is I use this very small punch, okay? And I just punch right at the top where the hole would normally be. I don't know if you can see that. Okay, just be careful. And it creates a hole. Can't tell where to put that. Okay, so we'll do that for both. And then you can, it goes through both layers of the leather. And then don't try to poke it through with the ball end. Put it from the bottom of the earring hook, and that way you won't stretch the hole. Okay. So you've got that, and we'll do the second one. Okay, so now let me back you up a little bit so you're not so close, okay? All right, so here are your earrings. 2 earrings that we cut on you saw a very small piece of leather. If they're in your ear and they flip around, you will not see the back raw side of the paper, or because the raw side of the paper is just white, if you can see that, and the back side of the leather is like that fuzzy, okay? If someone's asking, did I make these with my Cameo? Yes, I just cut these with the Cameo, okay? So, and these are sized, but of course you can size them any size that you want, but I thought that the size that they came in was great. So, those of you who just joined, you can re-watch this video. All of the links for the earrings themselves, which are part of the earring bundle, which expires tonight, 250 designs for $9.99. That expires tonight. Those are available. The leather that I use, all of the tools, a step-by-step tutorial, everything like that, including this super cool punch. I put links up top for you, okay? And there's, you know, like I said, you can go over to the blog and there's more in-depth tutorials, but everything should be there. And I know earrings are super popular. People love to make them, love to sell them. These are all the designs from So Fancy, which is where these come with a commercial license, so you would be able to sell the finished product if you want. All right, you guys, I have, someone's asking, can you cut with a Cameo too? Yes, you can cut the faux leather with any Silhouette machine, even a Curio. Okay, so you can cut them with all of them. And again, I would use a ratchet blade or an auto blade. By the way, if you're looking for auto blades and they are out of stock everywhere, it's a result of the pandemic, manufacturing delays, shipping delays. It's a nightmare. However, you can use ratchet blades, which are easier to find, although getting harder. I can't find where my ratchet blade is at the moment, but that's that little black blade. You just manually adjust it, okay? All right, you guys, I hope you have a fabulous rest of your day. See you soon.